Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Force Alliance Forever for a 5v5 custom map gen match to be casted presently. Let's go ahead and get into player introductions, starting with Team 1 over here on the left and ending with Team 2 over here on the right. And let's get right into introductions, but before we do, let me direct your attention to the buttons down below. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. About 40% of you are subscribed, so around 60 aren't, and it'd be really kind if you could do that. We're working up the subscriber totals. And consider liking and leaving a comment telling me how your day is going. Let's go ahead and get into the player introduction, starting with the Maroon Cybran for Team 1, going first, land by the name of Merlin1519. Then we can move our way down to the light green Aeon Best faction, going first land, and his name is Poseidon. Then we have ourselves a lights blue Cybran. I almost said Seraphim. That would have been very bad, but he is a Cybran, and he has gone first land, and his name is Surrey, and I will get a hold of myself and the way I speak someday. But that day is not today, as we move on to the dark blue Cybran, going first land by the name of Mr. von Steuben, and he is very happy to be very German today. As we move to the last player for Team 1, another green Aeon, this time of a darker variety, and of course, starting with a first air factory, his name is XX Liquid 77. And then we can move on to Team 2, starting in the south this time and making our way north. We're going to be looking at a purple Cybran, going first air, and has a lovely name. It is Macho Cat 77. Then up to the north of them, we have ourselves a white UEF going first land for Team 2 by the name of Gypsy Danger 3. Then up to the northwest of him, we know him, we love him, he's a red Seraphim, which is a bad choice, but it's okay because he brings us so much joy. It is none other than my esteemed peer and colleague, the Duelist. Give a round of applause for that man there. As we look up to the north with the dark green UEF going first land and building his hydro, his name is Sone01, or maybe it's just Sone01 or Swan? I'm not sure. It's a very strange name for me. As we move up to the yellow Cybran, going first land, our last player, but certainly not the least, his name is BMACR, or Bamacker. We're gonna call him Mac. He's Big Mac today. And of course, let's speed up the game to regular speed. Let's look at the map. Let's see what I can infer for you all today and tell you about what we might expect going on in this match right here, right now. We, of course, first have to look at the reclaim. Around 56,000 reclaim for these players to scoop into their coffers, and that's just the natural reclaim. We're going to have a lot more as these players start punching each other in the face, which is exactly what I expect to happen. We have a few choke points, we have a few plateaus. In particular, we're going to see this channel and this channel be heavily contested. These players are going to want to either have control of it or gain control of it because it's a very strong choke point. We also have these plateaus which are flanking the choke point I was talking about there relatively heavily, and we're going to see a lot of lane battles on these plateaus, on the choke point, and if anybody can break out past this line right here, you're gonna see a lot of units getting in, and these bases, it's just all flat land. There is nothing here to stop it, and on other than flat land, there's a lot of mexes. So we're gonna see some high economy, high octane action out here for you. We had two players start with the first air factory, and in fact, a second air factory already on the way for Macho K. I can speak, I promise. It's Macho Cat, not Macho K. But okay, let's look over here. Do we have a bomber coming out yet for Liquid? No, we don't. Going first air out of both of these players, they are the two lowest rated players in the game at 500 and 300 respectively. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how they wrap their minds around this very complicated game and figure out how to make it work in their advantage. As here in the middle, we have our first little bit of aggressive expansion coming out from 2 players on Team 1. We have Mr. von Steuben moving forward quite quickly to grab up all these mexes, and we of course have Surrey building up some land factories with a cliff build. This is called a distance build. If you're a little bit new to FAF, fun fact, the build range indicator here, it's the yellow orangish indicator around every builder in the game. If you didn't know this, it's not affected by height. It doesn't care. It's not a sphere, it's a cylinder that just goes up and down infinitely. So you can see he's walked over here. This little range ring has managed to reach both of these factories, and that means he's able to build the factories right there on that cliff. It's a very nice piece of tech and something that maybe you haven't thought of before, and it's a thing you can abuse to get up onto plateaus like this without having to go through the timely and costly expense of getting up a air factory and air transport. We have Duelist trying to do something very similar and succeeding. Of course, going to be a little bit later to that party, and unfortunately by a little bit later, I mean he is going to have 1 factory to 3 completed factories for Surrey, so Surrey going to be in a very, very strong position. Surrey and the Duelist being our highest rated players, they're the ones to keep our eyes on. They're the ones who are most likely to make big moves and have them be successful. Not that anybody else here is incompetent or cannot make good moves. Everybody in FAF has an equal opportunity to be right like a broken clock twice a day, and of course, we're going to see who's right and who's wrong. Just stay tuned. As over here to the east, we have our first bomber, but it's not out of any of the players who went first bomber. In fact, we have a Jester out from Macho Cat. But over here to the north, Sone 1 deciding to go for a bomber, and he's just set it on a patrol route, and in fact has 2 bombers up already. Unfortunately for him, one of his bombers does lock onto a commander. They're both on patrol routes, which means that these bombers are not going to get too much done. We have a lot of shooting going on somewhere. Where is that, I wonder? We do have it here in the middle, and unfortunately, the Duelist's aspirations of getting to a higher plane, not figuratively, but literally, have been thwarted by the overwhelming presence of Surrey up on this plateau. And unfortunately for the Duelist and for Sone 1, this area is going to be nasty. We might be able to see some T2 artillery just thrown up here, and if that happens, oh man, is there going to be some pain. I'm pretty sure a T2 artillery can hit most of the main base of the Duelist, and it can definitely hit this fire base over here for Sone. So we're going to have to see if Surrey realizes that or goes for it, or we could even see a tactical missile launcher, and that would be very, very unfortunate if they don't get TMD up in time. Jesters down to the south now starting to kill off some Mantis, some high-octane T1 action. We have T1 gunships, T1 tanks, T1 everything going to bat right here. T1 bombers even around this map. Every unit is going to have its day in the sun here in this match right here. I'm calling it. Except for the Fire Beetle and Mercies and a few others. I mean, we might see Mercies, and we're probably not going to see Fire Beetles. And over here to the east, very unfortunate, but Surrey going to continue to assert his dominance over this plateau and going to be able to kill off these land factories once he deals with the ever-annoying presence of these Scorcher bombers and, of course, the leftover units from that factory's production. Speed and range now on the way for the Duelist. Steuben doesn't have an upgrade just yet, and in fact, I think that's the first upgrade of the game, so Duelist won the upgrade race. He got his upgrade started first, and he is damn well gonna finish it first, so congratulations to the Duelist. You can collect your prize at 123 I don't know street. There you go. I hope he watches this. I hope he watches this and he's like, I'm gonna find 123 I don't know street and I'm gonna go get my prize. The prize is a mystery. It's a surprise. It's not just a prize, it's a surprise, which means it's a man. Sir prize. And of course, over here to the west, we have a few units incurring the wrath of the commander of Surrey. And in fact, they really like it. Some masochistic strikers over here walking their way into straight death. I don't. One second. I need to do that again. See, these are the strikers now. That's what they look like. And of course, That is what's going on presently. Over here to the north, of course, we have a few units coming in now from Poseidon to try and help with that, but not like this was too much of a threat. All of these bombers out of Sone, though, really causing some pain over here for Surrey. Surrey needs to get some interceptors into the air. He's losing quite a bit for almost nothing. Like, he doesn't necessarily need to lose this. He just needed a few interceptors to deal with him. Some AA is showing up, some static anti-air also going to be built, but this is going to slow down Surrey quite a little bit. Meanwhile, down here to the south, that gun speed and range upgrade has finished for the Duelist. Second upgrade goes to Poseidon, getting speed up on the plateau, but the Duelist looking to get aggressive, looking to move in onto the position of Mr. Von Steuben, and unfortunately for him, he has yet to build any upgrades on that commander, so he's going to have a little bit of a rough time, as the Duelist is going to have a heyday right now. There's some AA being built up by Mr. Von Steuben, and he has a couple of PD behind him that he can maybe run to get out of this situation. But as of the moment, the Duelist has more units, he has a gun comm, he has overcharge, he has built that ever so important early energy storage, and we're gonna see this turn into a bloodbath real quick. If Steuben doesn't die, you can be very well assured that his base will, because he just doesn't have the numbers, he doesn't have the tools to deal with this right now, and with those PD being right next to each other, just a couple of overcharges can deal with them. The first PD already down, second PD down, and Steuben has nothing to fall back to. He's in such a painful position, and we've all been there, we've all miscalculated, and we've all been caught with our pants down up against a gun comm totin' Seraphim commander. And of course, with these dirty tactics coming out from the Seraphim player, the Duelist, along with some gestures, Steuben's gonna go down. First kill at 9 minutes and 44 seconds. And that is going to be quite the blow to the northern team. Surrey is going to inherit that base, as it is indeed a full share game, but will he be able to do anything with it? Because right now the Duelist looking poised to just break out and get into the juicy territories that once belonged to Steuben, and they're filled with T2 mexes to oh so delectably blow up with your units. Although he lost most of his units here, he still has that gun comm, can still be aggressive. Meanwhile, down to the south, we have a forward production base built up now for Liquid 7-7, and he's building a lot of flares. Flares are not a bad unit. Love to see it. As up here to the north, oh no, Big Mac is coming in, and he has so many bombers. Team 2 has just been bomber incarnate, and right now Merlin is feeling the wrath of the T1 bombers. As 500 rated players going to learn the hard way that anti-air is very important if you don't have interceptors, and he's starting to lose production factories due to this early investment out from Big Mac, but Big Mac's gonna be a happy camper, gonna even be able to kill off some T2 mexes. There's just no interceptors in the air. This is not going to be stopped. There's nothing here that can deal with this, so it's a very unfortunate situation for that Maroon Cybran player. Here in the middle, speed and range has finished up for Poseidon. He's pushing back the units of Sone 1, and of course speed and range now on the way for Surrey. Down to the south, a lot of those flares have now been cleaned up, and Surrey is just trying to get enough units onto the field. Does have T2 air and land finished up, in both of those in the Cybran variety, but does he have enough to stop a gun comm, or does he just have enough to stop the spam that's going to be coming in? As a bunch of jesters now lining up, they can't really assault this comm of Liquid XX too well, or XX Liquid 7-7. Very strange name to me, but yeah, no, I'll deal with it. As, of course, there's some static AA down here. The commander just runs to the AA. It'll take a little bit of damage, but not nearly enough to be threatening to that commander's lifestyle of breathing. And up here to the north, enough interceptors have finally been amassed to stop the bomber raid. The bomber raid got a lot of damage done. Sure, there's some reclaim on the ground, but this is the lowest rated player for... well, honestly, he's tied for lowest rated. Oh wait, nope, there's a 300 on the southern side. Building Jesters, I really like to see those. And of course, a low rated player up against a average Joe player, you're gonna generally see very unfortunate things happen to them. But that does not mean he cannot recover, and we'll have to keep track of his progress in recovering. As right now he has a long path to rehabilitation after that Scorcher addiction. And now Poseidon is going to start moving forward. Actually, it may have been Zeus's. Actually, very likely it was Zeus's, not Scorcher's. And more Zeus is going to come in, and if they target the right thing, this could be pretty damaging. I'm going to go for T1 mexes. I would love to see them target the T2 mexes. That seems a little bit more prudent. You're going to be throwing away the bombers anyways, so may as well get the higher value target there. And Duelist forced back by the T2, T1 army coming out from Surrey. But Duelist, I don't think, is going to be complaining too much. He's sitting on a relatively strong economy, about to be over 100 mass a second. Surrey is pretty happy, sitting on an also strong economy. But overall, with the ejection of Mr. von Steuben, we do have a bit of a situation of forming economically. You can see it right here, over or nearing 100 mass a second differential between these teams. As far as Reclaim goes, though, Team 2 doing a lot better on Reclaim. The lead man there would be Sone 1, followed by Big Mac. And on the northern team, Surrey doing a decent job with Reclaim, but not able to keep up with those two players. And right now we're looking at what seems to be these players stocking up for a longer game. Nobody really got a breakout victory. Sure, Duelist killed off a player, but he killed off a player who was, comparatively to some of the players in the game, relatively low ranked. And got that value of removing some APM, but still needs to be worried that Surrey might just run away economically here soon. As TMD going up for a lot of players here. Very important to make sure you get that. T1 bombers still just streaming in and still just taking their toll on Merlin. Merlin is just not able to stop it. I don't think he understands if he just patrols if he patrols these Sky Slammers right here, he'll stop all the bombers. But unfortunately in a very rough position right now and unable to really handle that, as we do have, I think that was a tactical missile. No, that was a artillery piece out from Sone 1. And we have artillery queued up for Surrey. I was speaking about this a little bit earlier. And that could be very, very nasty. I'd love to see the range of said artillery. So give me a Gunther. Yeah, he'll be able to hit a lot of high-value targets here. A lot of these mexes you have to be thinking for Duelist. These mexes out here, these are the next ones he's probably going to want to upgrade once he gets all this stuff in the back done. And he's going to be upgrading them very soon. As down here to the south, we see Liquid. He's trying to hold out, and there's some units showing up from Surrey to try and be of assistance, but Liquid not in the strongest of positions right now. Sorry about any squeaking you hear. I need to get a can of WD-40 and spray my chair because it is very, very squeaky all of a sudden. Something to fix in between casts. And we have Jesters out on the field starting to get some value, although they will be shot down from Swift Winds coming out from Liquid. Liquid putting that T2 air to good use right now. And we have a lot of gunships now starting to form up over here to the east for Gypsy Danger. Gypsy Danger may be willing to go to the gunship snipe option very soon. And he's sitting on T3 air. He has ASF in the sky. I don't see anything similar for any of these other players. We have T2 air going T3 right now for Surrey, but by far and away, Gypsy Danger getting to T3 air the fastest this game. And that might come to bite the Western team, to bite Team 1 in the rear. Can't curse. It's YouTube's family-friendly policy now. And, of course, we now have artillery wars that are going to start up. 4 Clink Hammers versus 1 Gunther. Not going to go too well for the Gunther, as the attack has stalled out up against Liquid. He's unable to really deal with that at the moment, and T3 mechs is now starting to come onto the field for the Duelists. Not the same for Surrey, but Surrey has a lot more mechs to send to T2, and in fact has almost gotten all of them there. And no, in fact, has 4 T3 mechs uncapped, a 5th one capped. Getting a lot of T3 mechs. That may have been a misclick, or may have just been, okay, I got too much mass, gotta spend it. Send these 4 to T3. But that's going to be huge. Surrey already over 300 mass a second before 20 minutes. That's going to be a very dangerous thing for Team 2 to deal with. And now Team 1 ahead economically by about 10 to 20 mass at any given second. Gunther's in the middle, going to be eliminated by the Clink Hammers, unfortunately. But I'm sure Surrey isn't too worried about that. That was more of an optimistic play than a play that you expected to necessarily work out. One of those ones you invest in, and if it goes well, great. If it doesn't, oh well. And over here to the west, we have a little bit of an incursion coming out from Duelist. It's not really going to do much other than leave mass on the doorstep for Surrey to throw into his coffers, because they're not going to be able to kill off one of these T3 mechs. Just got too much HP, and it regens because it's Cybran. And down to the south, we have all of these units now trying to conglomerate for Duelist, but he just seems to have a little bit less in the tank compared to his opposition as a Monkey Lord. Now on the way, a lot of hives nearby getting assistance or getting to their higher tech levels. That Monkey Lord will be built very quickly once those hives all upgraded. And down to the south, we still have Liquid trying to hold out. He's done a pretty admirable job so far. But if I were him, I'd be a little bit worried about an air snipe coming my way. And speaking of air snipes, there's almost enough T1 bombers over here to just kill off a commander. That could be very scary. As in the middle, we have a little bit more fighting going on between Duelist and Surrey. They seem more than happy to punch each other in the face as they continue to just trade units back and forth, creating quite the reclaim field. And on just this screen, we have 19,000, and most of this is no longer natural reclaim. I guess it is catching a lot of the reclaim from over there, but that's a lot of reclaim for these players to scoop up. And Duelist slowly being pushed back by the overwhelming T1 presence here. But it really feels as though Surrey needs to get some more bulk in his force, needs to get some of those T2 units out onto the field. Otherwise, this could get a little bit dangerous. Up on the northern side, massive movement of T1 bombers coming out. I don't really know what their plan is, but they are moving here nonetheless. What are they going for? It's hard to tell. Oh, they're just on a patrol route. So they're going to kill off quite a little bit. And that damage is gonna... Well, I mean, I guess not as much as you would think with the advent of shield generation over here on this flank. But it's still a problem. Interceptor showing up to try and help. Gunships over here to the south out from Gypsy Danger starting to help clean up what is remaining of the T1 land force after that engagement between Duelist and Surrey. And the Monkey Lord going up quickly, going already up to 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. It's going to keep ticking up that quickly for the foreseeable future, and that's going to be a danger very soon on the horizon for this Eastern team. And now Reclaim has also shifted into the favor of Team 1, or has shifted into the favor of Team 2, but Team 1 and the total mass generation over 10,000 ahead. That's half a Monkey Lord, or maybe a little bit more than half, but still. I don't know the exact mass value of a Monkey Lord. I don't build them very often. As down here to the south, we have a lot of Jesters still in the sky. Really love to see it. Macho Cat knows what he likes, and he likes Jesters. And T3 to Surrey, he's asking for an Aeon T3 Engineer, does get it from Poseidon. Poseidon getting up a lot of T3 land production, and I think that's the first T3 land we've seen out on the field. Maybe there's an odd T3 unit kicking around. Yeah, up here to the north we have some Loyalists out from Big Mac. And the Monkey Lord has completed. It's going to start waltzing its way out of the base right now, and that's going to be a danger to the society at large. T3 now on the way for Surrey. Needs to be a bit careful. He's sitting in not the best position. I mean, this is just a T2 army, but he has no gun upgrade anymore. And the Monkey Lord going to have to be pulled over to deal with this. I'm sure that's going to make him a little bit unhappy. He'd much rather be spending this Monkey Lord's time assaulting the southern side. But That's going to be off the cards for him as Sone 1 shows up with a lot of units. And those units are going to die. This is going to leave a ton of reclaim. Does the Monkey Lord kill off the Rex? I can't remember. It seems as though it does not. But that's a lot of reclaim. Luckily, didn't need that T2 power. Already has multiple T3 power generators online. And with the T3 force now coming out from Poseidon, and in droves, honestly, Sone's force is all but gone. Experimental? Chicken done for the Duelist. That's quite the development. And down here to the south, I'm starting to feel a little bit worried for Liquid. Is in a bit of an exposed position with this T2 army nearby, with the T1 army and Jesters all around. There's not really all that much AA in the area. He's building more T1 PD. These Rhinos going to be able to push forward, going to be able to kill off a lot of this. There's some T1 PD trying to stop them, but I don't think it's going to be too effective. And we have broadswords now building up for Gypsy Danger. That's up here to the north, a bunch of Harbingers now appearing. T1 bombers have finally stopped for Big Mac. Although now he's building much scarier things in the form of Corsairs. This northern side going to be a scary place to be living for a little bit for Team 1. Meanwhile, Team 2 also making the southern side a bit scary. 4 broadswords is quite the number right now. I'd be worried for Liquid. Yet again, this T2 army, these 4 broadswords, probably be 5 by the time they get over there. And the chicken, Liquid is just a little bit outgunned in this theater. Lots of Vipers coming out from Macho Cat. Wants to push back this position. And in come the broadswords, and they're going to start firing, and they're going to start firing quick. And right now, Liquid, under sustained fire from broadswords, down to 5,000 HP, 4,000 HP, 3,000 HP, 2,000 HP. Is there any air coming to save him? 1,000 HP, and no, he is dead. And that's another player down for the Western team, Team 1. And now they're going to be sitting on a very, very rough position. Surrey going to be forced to triple base. Chicken here in the middle meeting the Monkey Lord. Oh no. The Monkey Lord running away. It's decided it has to turn around and fire onto the chicken. Unfortunately, it only fires for about a second before going down, and now this chicken has free reign to just make its way into the base. These T1 units are going to barely even tickle it. And right now, Surrey staring down the barrel of a KFC dinner. And I don't think he's hungry for chicken right now, but he's managed to complete a GC. And I think that GC will win with how much damage has been done to the chicken. Needs to keep it moving though, as all of these units out from the Duelist, all of these Ilshvas and now the occasional Otham, is going to be able to show up here and start pushing into the Heartlands. And if he can manage to get significant damage done all the way down here, that will be huge. As T3 air has been achieved by Surrey, he's going for cloaking. Wants to make sure the comm is safe. GC now shows up, starts firing into that chicken. Chicken returns fire. All of these Ilshvas and all of these tanks need to get on top of that GC and start dealing damage right now. GC still winning the health exchange, but you have to remember, in this fight, the chicken, with its giant plasma death ball, does a ton more DPS as long as it lands those. GC down in the yellow health, chicken in red, chicken about to go down. Poseidon finishes an experimental, and chicken goes down. GC starts running away on a paltry 4,000 HP. That's not going to be good. Laser has started for Surrey. He can use that to clean up this force if it tries to push into his main base, especially since it's done right now. And that leaves the whole world blind as an eye for an eye, a GC for a chicken. Leaves nobody with experimentals right now. Is up here in the north, another push out from Sone, but it's just doomed to fail. And to the south, it's looking a little bit desperate right now for Surrey. The combined armed force of Macho Cat and the Duelist pushing in, killing off a lot of these mexes. Mercies have been built, so I was right about that. Still haven't seen Fire Beetles, though. GC now done for Poseidon. That's going to be a danger to Sone. Sone getting T3 on the comm, has a bunch of T3 engineers. Merlin killed off by a snipe of Corsairs. Sorry, I missed it. I noticed him building them earlier, but I was a little bit distracted by everything else going on the map. You'll forgive me. And honestly, I think that Merlin dying may have been a net benefit for his team. Unfortunately, Poseidon's probably going to manage that base a little bit better. But overall, he did his best, and he got cheesed really hard by Big Mac, which what would you expect from McDonald's? They're very cheesy. This base back here to the west for Surrey, going to be dead. He's using the commander, getting some kills, already up to 1 rank of veterancy. Gonna get a little bit more now that he's walking into some T2 units. And it's gonna be some juicy ranks of veterancy coming up real quick. Those mobile missile launchers aren't cheap. And he's almost to 3 ranks of veterancy, but this base is all but dead. And now broadswords coming in the south with some air escort are gonna ensure that this base over here is all but dead as well. And Surrey, he's still sitting on, I believe, the strongest eco in the game at 465, Poseidon at 424. But overall, as a team, they're down 200 mass a second. So we're going to have to see if the concentrated mass coming out from these two players can regain them enough map control to make something happen here. And it's looking quite dire for this Western team. They're in a very losing position right now, but it's not over yet. They have experimentals on the field to try and abuse. They have a comm that is very scary, that cloak laser comm. Another experimental, 2 GCs done right now. I'm sure a third soon to follow. Lots of reclaim out here. Duelist doing a good job of getting on top of the reclaim. Already reclaimed the monkey. But there's still the GC and the chicken over here, which are much easier for the Western team to get their hands on. Poseidon's built another experimental, just mass GC. And if you watch my recent stream, you'll see that mass GC is a pretty good option. As a bunch of broadswords show up, this could be very dangerous. The GC right here are going to be taking a lot of damage, but little do they know that there's a commander right there that they could snipe of the highest rated player on the enemy team. They just need a T3 scout to fly over him. And that GC taking a ton of damage. Not that it particularly matters, you can replace them so damn quickly. And 3 GCs sitting over here. He's getting into some AA cover now with these Redeemers, but still, this GC may just go down to the concerted efforts of all these broadswords. 20,000 HP is not a place you want your GC to be at. I guess 0 is worse. And it doesn't have a rank of veterancy, so this is just 10 HP a second. Honestly, it's a reclaim it and build another GC moment. That seems like the best strategy right here. Send the GC back right to your hives, Control K it, and build another GC almost instantaneously. As over here to the east, a chicken for the Duelist is done. I'd really like to see Poseidon just hand this force over to Surrey instead of trying to micro on multiple fronts. You can't really be Micro Jackson with a rating of 1,000. And the GC up here to the north is getting a lot of value, although that's a lot of T2. That's a ton of Corsairs coming in. Whew! That is a weight loss plan if ever I've seen one. And that's a dead GC. Although I don't think Sone will be able to hold this area. He's still on just mainly T2 units. And he's looking at an enemy who has mostly, he has only T3 units. And has been building GCs. Both of the GCs for Surrey have managed to stay alive. The chicken is dead. For the duelist. And what is the duelist's plan? Still building chickens, although I don't think he's going to be able to outbuild Surrey right now. Definitely behind by enough to be significant. Over 100 mass a second differentiating these two highest rated players. Although we have to give credit to the duelist. Quite admirable of him to keep up as well as he has economically. He has a lot less mexes. Surrey using the T3 cloak laser comm to just build T3 mexes. I mean, as long as they pay themselves off. I don't know how long they take to pay themselves off. Somebody in the comments tell me they cost 4,600 and they make 18 a second. How long does it take a T3 mex to pay itself off? It's not as long as I would think it would be. I would think like a... I would probably think somewhere in the range of like 5 minutes, but I don't think it's that. I think it's probably much shorter. As the push over here to the south for Poseidon, I mean, it looks like it might go well. The T3 units up here to the north for Poseidon doing very well as well. Very much well in my vocabulary today. Indeed, very well. Indubitably. But of course, we gotta get back focused on the game. Can't go on too many tangents or you all are gonna yell at me for missing things. GC's knocking on the door of Duelist, and he's gonna respond with some KFC. He's gonna respond with some Zaxby's, maybe some Popeyes, and these broadswords coming out from Gypsy Danger. Not gonna be a bad side for the chicken. And it does seem as though Poseidon gonna be forced back here. Surrey gonna show up with his own GC here to try and help out. But that's a lot of Corsairs, and that's a very dead GC. Air is a constant sore spot for this Western team. The chicken most likely could die here, but the GC gonna try and walk away. I don't know how well that's gonna really go for him. Yeah, this isn't a situation that the GC really wants to be in, is it? With his arms out to the side, it kind of looks like, I surrender! Please don't hurt me! As the GC tucks its tail and runs away. Up to the north, we have a slaughter going on. Somebody call a hearse, but not for me, says Poseidon. These Harbingers just chewing through all of these strikers. And the occasional loyalist that does show up is very sad that it did. Although the Corsairs coming in and making life difficult. How many Corsairs does the man have? I clicked the wrong one. Clicked the wrong one again. Alright, 62 Corsairs. Okay. It's very close to a fuck you amount of Corsairs. Like a, I don't care what you have, you're gonna die level of Corsairs. I mean, how much mass is that? Like, how many experimentals could you have gotten? You could have gotten at least one. It's an experimental worth of Corsair. And down here to the south, what were they saying? Take this corner. Oh, Duelist wants Macho Cat to get aggressive. It's hard to coax a 300 into being aggressive. You'll find that. Don't be satisfied with your own territory, take theirs. Duelist is coaching somebody while playing the game, and arguably doing the best on his team. It's between him and Big Mac, as far as their most valuable player right now. Surrey is fighting for his life, and honestly doing a good job of it. Going for a Tsar. Interesting play when you don't have air control. Although I guess the Tsar could very much so help you get air control with the proper micro and with luck. I mean, if the enemies don't dive the Tsar, you're in a pretty good position. Lots of scouts coming out from Big Mac. I think he might want to snipe the comm of Surrey, but he's not going to have much luck finding it. And Surrey down here, he was building T3 mexes, and then he built a line of SAMs. And now he's going to bring the comm back, going to get a little bit more veterancy by just killing off all of this T2 army. Probably enough here to get him to rank 5 vet, almost rank 4. A gnat's hair away. And up to the north, continues standoffs. Here in the middle, that's a lot of artillery. Hopefully a fat boy doesn't try and come through this pass. And artillery creeping now coming out from Sone, wants to shut down this plateau entirely. And now we see it, Surrey up to 500 mass away from just getting his final rank of vet on that comm. Has been very worth the upgrades he's invested into it, killing nearly 10,000 mass. As a GC and a lot of T3 units over here to the north are going to try and help deal with Sone and Big Mac's overwhelming spam. If he could manage to get a critical mass like 3 or 4 GCs up here, it would be really huge. Because 3 or 4 GCs will deal with this very easily, just suck up every unit and kill them off very, very quickly. But as of right now, the GC going to go down to concerted striker fire, it would seem. Not to mention the fact that there's almost always 100 Corsairs just kicking around somewhere. I actually don't know what he used all those Corsairs on just a moment ago. He had so many. I mean, I guess I could just look for the overwhelming reclaim field, and yep, he went for something in these bases. Didn't manage to get it, whatever it was. Looks like he was going for, I don't know, anti-nuke or something? Commander? Commander didn't take any damage if he did. And over here to the east, the GC does live. I would love to see the Harbingers start reclaiming. You can tell the Harbingers to patrol and they'll reclaim really well right here. Does have a lot of engineers doing it though. Maybe just wants to keep the Harbingers moving with that GC. And the GC is going to get ranks of veterancy if it keeps pushing forward, especially if it can kill off the Clink Hammers. Clink Hammers are very expensive. And GC going to kill off 1. It's already got its first rank of veterancy. Going to be able to kill off more. And that's going to be a good position right now for Poseidon, being able to just push back all of this. But the Corsairs now come in. And the GC tries to micro away from it. A lot of flak here. A lot of asylums to help out. And some ASF for good measure. The Tsar is complete. That's a lot of ASF to contend with, though. And the 2 GCs going to move down here, trying to foist the plans of Macho Cat from it taking over that territory as instructed by the Duelist. And now with a bunch of mobile artillery, the Duelist has managed to kill off all of these Gunthers, the Sathanus, or Sathanus. The little artillery doggo of FAF. I love seeing it. Is a Seraphim unit that I can say I genuinely like. One of few. And these GCs now meandering their way down south, killed off all of this expansion effort out from Macho Cat. Duelist has built an experimental. What might that be? It's another chicken. So now he has 2. Another GC about to complete for Surrey, and one's going to start up right after that. And Sone has now built a Fat Boy and is working on another one immediately. And Mass Fat Boy is one good way to deal with the GC threat that's been coming out from Poseidon. And from Suri. So funny how I reclaim it, lol. And the Harbingers are reclaiming now over here in the north. You love to see it. And the T3 land production for Poseidon is quite insane. And he's sitting on quite the economy right now. Team 2 still ahead economically, but not really growing that lead that much. Huge air fight going on down here to the south, and it seems as though Suri and Poseidon have won it, especially with the help from the Tsar. Up to 26 kills. And pretty much all of those are going to be on air units. Now Suri, he's at 4 ranks of veterancy, and I see a 5th in his cards. All he needs to do is stop building SAMs. And 5th rank of veterancy right there. And yep, gonna kill off way more than he bargained for there. Getting up to 15,000 mass killed. And now there are 4 GCs on the field for Suri, as well as... Or no, 3 GCs and a Tsar. A 4th GC will be done momentarily. Over here to the east, that GC which managed to get... Well, where's the GC that got the rank of veterancy? Where did it die? Did it die? Where did it go? I haven't the slightest clue. But that GC is sitting on a half HP without hitting anything, so I'm guessing these spearheads are working. Another GC finishes up for Suri. And we're kind of just waiting. Both sides kind of winding up for a huge attack. Monkey Lord, Fat Boy over here. There's a GC finished up. Another GC about to finish. Were they reclaiming the GC? I guess maybe it died to Corsairs. There's been a lot of those going around. And we are waiting. Let's go ahead and check in on these economies. Suri leading the pack at 780-ish. 480-ish for Poseidon. Gypsy Danger at that mark too. Duelist at around 400. I think Duelist might be power stalling though. No, he's not. He's just managed to lose some economy. Or I guess maybe he's just met his cap. After Duelist, we're going to be looking at Big Mac and Macho Cat, which are both over 100, but Big Mac already up to 300. Sone sitting at 437. A lot of strong economies from these players. Over 122,000 reclaim for Poseidon. Suri at 83,000. Duelist at 70,000. Lots of reclaim going on, but this Fat Boy over here in the north causing issues, and it has a Megalith and massive Titan force to escort it. But 3 GCs is a lot for anybody to deal with. And the Duelist has built yet another chicken. How many is he up to? He's got 1 here. He's got 1 in the base. Did he lose another chicken somewhere? Oh, another there. So 3 chickens versus 4 GCs and a Fat Boy. Up here to the north, the GCs start fighting. The Megalith and the Fat Boy and the Monkey Lord. And this is getting a little bit crazy. So much going on. Let's turn the icons back on. First GC is already dead. First Monkey Lord is dead. I think there's only 1 though. Megalith gonna be under threat. Tsar moves in. And it's looking a little bit dire for Team 2. I thought they had this in the bag when they got the first 2 GCs, but the Tsar showing up makes this very difficult. And the Megalith, it's not going to crab walk back, which means that this GC most likely lives. The Fat Boy goes down to the Tsar. And where is the air fight? You kind of expect one to happen, but nothing's going on. The units over here of Gypsy Danger not deciding to get involved. The Tsar gonna be more than happy to just scoop up a kill onto a Megalith and eat up all of that veterancy for it. Already killed off a Fat Boy by itself. May as well kill off the Megalith as well. And the Megalith is going to take a lot of damage. Strategic launch detected. It's going here in the middle, not really going to get too much value. The Megalith goes down to the Tsar. And that is going to be 56,000 mass killed. That Tsar very much so worth it. And the GC now moving in. And that's going to be huge. Tsar, his fat boy, asks Surrey. Nuke lands, killing off some mobile artillery, but not much else. And over here, we're looking at Big Mac running away. He has a fire base built up with a bunch of PD. He also probably has some Corsairs being built up, but I don't know if the Corsair is going to do too much. GC still pretty healthy. 42,000 HP is a lot to chew through. Trying to throw up a lot of T2 PD to deal with the GC, but it's just going to stomp its way through this base. Say thank you, have a nice day. I am galactic, I am colossal, and you are minuscule, as it takes down this fire base and continues to march forward. And there's a lot of T3 here. This isn't something that's going to be simple to deal with. Broadswords and air now finally showing up for Gypsy Danger, but if the Tsar and the Air Force of both of the Western team players get involved, this is not going to go well for the Eastern team. And right now it's starting to look like Poseidon and Surrey are going to get the first big swing of the game. And down here on the south, we have 4 GCs, 2 Fat Boys, and a partridge in a pear tree, ready to push. Airfight takes place. Huge loss, though, for Poseidon, and Surrey throws his air into the mix right afterwards. Oh, no, that's a disaster. But luckily, the land force, it's going to be hard for this land force to be taken out quickly, even with broadswords, even with the Corsairs. Going to start moving in. Big Mac going to start trying to throw up PD. I don't think it's going to get too far. I think there's more than enough bricks and harbingers here to continue to push in. And Big Mac going to be in a big amount of trouble. The Corsairs still doing a lot of damage. These T3 land units are relatively tanky. The Tsar pulled back. And Big Mac now under threat of just dying outright. Monkey Lord that was started was never going to see the light of day. Big Mac almost assuredly dead. A right click kills him, and it's a really good scalp here. Second highest rated player for the Eastern team. And down goes Big Mac, and there's still enough of a T3 force here to get the power grid to get a lot of damage done. Nuke launched out from the Duelist. Where is it going? It's going for the main base of Surrey. Did he manage to snipe the anti-nuke? No. Yes, he did? Is there another anti-nuke? Is this just going to land? Oh, no, it's just going to land. Oh, wait, no, there's an anti-nuke to the north. Oh, Surrey managing to save himself. Sone has built another experimental up to 3 Fat Boys, going on to 4. And over here to the east, the base of Big Mac. I mean, the mass income is still going to be there. But overall, he's lost quite a bit. That's a lot of power, a lot of production going down, a lot of build power. But critically, most of the mexes are still there, which means that the mass economy, it's still going to look good for Team 2, Team 1. Still in a bit of a bind. As over here to the south, we have 4 GCs of varying HP totals and 2 full health Fat Boys that are going to start trying to push. And this might be the battle that decides the game. We're going to see 3 chickens versus 4 GCs and 2 Fat Boys, but the chickens have a lot more T3 and T1 and T2 land forces to help them. The Fat Boys really need to get value here. Honestly, the play here is to just kite, I feel, for Surrey. Just keep the Fat Boys firing as much as possible and try and avoid the GCs getting into a direct confrontation with the chickens. Although I think that might be impossible at the moment. As we slow down the game, this is just too epic a scene to not capture. And the chickens for the duelist. I don't think they're gonna... First blood comes out for the GCs. But you have to imagine that one of these GCs is going to go down soon. Let's go ahead and turn this back on. And no, in fact, most of the GCs sitting on relatively high HP. And let's go ahead. I think I've gotten my my fill. 1 second. Can I please get out of this and put it back to normal speed? GCs managed to kill 2 of the chickens with no losses, but quickly going to lose 2 of their own. And now the 3rd chicken... It's going to start taking a lot of damage, especially from these 2 ion clouds. But the ion clouds also could target some of the GCs. The Fat Boy is still reigning with impunity. High explosive down on the battlefield, and the GCs, 1 is left. And 2 Fat Boys remain. That's a lot of T2 units, and this is a lot of Percivals to help out with the cleanup. And also, all of these ion storms are going to be huge. As well as a Scath is completing and raining down some Hellfire onto this battlefield. All of these shots will actually be quite helpful. Helpful in dealing a lot more damage, but this GC most likely going to go down to the remaining forces. And I'd love to see much more GC production coming out from Surrey. If he can replace the GCs faster than Duelists can get chickens, it's just a winning formula. Especially with air being... Well, I mean, I guess air is still contested quite heavily, and there's still quite a bit of air for Gypsy Danger, but they can get back into that game. Lots of strats now built up for Poseidon, but now there's 3, make it 4 Fat Boys over here on the eastern side of the map, pushing western on this north front. On the south, we got the 2 Fat Boys pushing forward, but they're very much so alone and separated. And now with air coming in, you can't imagine that they'll live long with a bunch of Stinger gunships showing up. Strat bombers come in, take down the shield on one of the Fat Boys. There's probably enough AA here. There's Cougars, there's Sams to stop this from getting too much more done. And the Fat Boys just have to fall back. That's their entire game plan here. If the Fat Boys fall back and the Titans move forward, it will slow down this force enough. The Tsar should really just get involved here. You're not going to get too much value from the Tsar moving forward, so I'd just use it to kill off most of these Fat Boys. Most of them don't have shielding now, and a lot of them have taken a lot of damage. But Surrey not paying attention to that. And now with a Duke completed for the Duelist, a Scath is done over here for Surrey. But Surrey's having struggles. He's building a second Scathis, but this one's taken damage, most likely just due to the fact that shielding against a Duke and 2 Novaxes is hard. Although could definitely win this just by assisting. You could win this by selecting 12 of these hives and just tell them to assist the closest shields. But that takes a little bit more micro than I think Surrey is willing to give it right now. And the peppering of Duelist base is continuing. I think the better play is to go for the base of Gypsy Danger with the Scathis. But maybe he wants to get rid of the anti-nuke. I think there's an anti-nuke over here for Gypsy Danger. If not, that's where you nuke. You just throw a bunch of SCUs down. Oh, sorry, hit my mic. You throw a bunch of SCUs down here, throw up a stealth field, and then make a nuke launcher with a bunch of hives, and you'll win that. You'll get rid of the air problem very quickly. As up here to the north, the Fat Boys continue to prevail, continue to push forward. And now we're going to see Miasma built in mass, but can they be built in time? as 5 Fat Boys are going to push forward. And I just don't really understand why Surrey and Poseidon stopped spamming GCs. Their main value of this game has come from them having a bunch of GCs, and they just decided to quit that. The Fat Boys down here in the south are going to start trying to make progress, but that's a bunch of artillery. These Gunthers, and all of them firing a little bit faster thanks to that T2 P-Gen, are going to be a problem. He has to move in. He has to kill the Gunthers and kill them fast. Otherwise, he's just going to lose this. In fact, just going for that T2 P-Gen may be enough. He needs to focus it down, but he's now got gunships on the Fat Boys. He's probably going to lose them. He needs to kill that T2 P-Gen. That civilian structure lasted so long, but now it's gone. And there's a bunch back here that are still going to live. Some civilians get to live this game. The T2 Pigeon goes down, but the Gunther's not necessarily going to follow suit. They took a lot of splash damage from the explosion, from the volatile explosion, but... oh, the shield comes back online, and that's going to be brutal. This second Fat Boy probably going to die. As up here to the north, 5 Fat Boys are going to be bearing down. Needs a lot of miasmas and needs them fast. I think building them with the power is a mistake. It slows it down just that little bit. And I think the Tsar is going to have to be involved there to deal with those fatties. Fat Boy down here to the south, about to go down. And kennels being used to reclaim the chickens. The fun little interesting play. Duelist saying take those, talking about the mexes, telling Sone. And the Fat Boy starting to move forward. The ASF need to lift off very soon. Otherwise he's going to lose an air fight to Fat Boys. And all of these spearheads are going to come in and they're going to kill off these miasmas so quick. And he's losing a lot of ASF now to Fat Boy fire and manages to get them off in the air. But you have to move the Tsar forward. Poseidon calling GG, feeling it's over. Multiple Novaxes. The first Scathis went down. Next Scathis is building. And next Scathis is done, and there's a third Scathis building. The base of the Duelist loses its anti-nuke. Where is the nuke launcher? You had one earlier. I'm not seeing it. If he doesn't have one, that's a bit of a mistake. Because you could have gotten a kill onto some very important targets down here. Or actually just nuking the Fat Boys would have been a good call. The Tsar tries to move in, but there's too many Cougars. So down goes the Tsar. And this land force up here to the north might be able to pick off one Fat Boy, but what do you do after that? A line of miasma might be able to hold out for a little while, but these Fat Boys just starting to become a little bit too much. The Scathis firing away, but there's more Fat Boys always going to be coming. The Scathis, don't know what it's going for. I guess it's trying to get rid of this. But we're going to see more and more Novaxes show up for Sone, and I think that the Eastern team, it's maybe a little bit early to call this, but I think they may have gotten it in the bag by now. Another Scathis being built over here. But the Fat Boys now start their approach. And man, is it going to be a painful approach, at least for Poseidon. Although they're losing their shields and taking a lot of damage due to artillery fire. Poseidon kills off one of the Fat Boys. Can they manage more? It's just a lot of HP to chew through. The Fat Boys taking a lot more damage. I think Scathis might even be firing over here to try and help out. That Monkey Lord trying to move forward. Unfortunately, most of the artillery is already dead. And the Monkey Lord just going to momentarily stop the Fat Boys. This Fat Boy is so close to death, needs to be focused down. It's not going to happen. And I think that these remaining 4 Fat Boys... oh, no, the Scathis is being used as a close-in T2 artillery piece. And it's slowly killing off the Fat Boys. might give new life to this Western team. I mean, Surrey just sitting on a ridiculous economy. But that's a ton of strat bombers out from Gypsy Danger. And there's probably enough ASF to stop the strat bombers, but not enough to win the air fight afterwards. And I don't know if Poseidon can even see it. Oh, yeah, that. They have jamming now, so that's going to be a bit difficult. He does not have shield on the comm, so this is a problem. The SAMs might be able to help get the strat bombers. Strategic launch detected. Who is it out of? I'm not seeing it. Strat bombers come in. Is Poseidon gonna live? No, he's not. And where is that nuke going? It's going down here to kill off the Fat Boys of Surrey. And it's gonna get them. The Fat Boys over here to the north, though, a lot of them were killed off by Surrey, and Surrey still has a chance in this. It's very slim, though. Two of the Fat Boys pushing down towards his main base, killing off a lot of his power. A Megalith trying to be thrown up. Artillery constantly firing at this first Scathis, or the Scathis that's still alive. Are any of these we're claiming? Yeah, they are. Strategic launch detected. The anti-nuke is still alive, but now it's dead. This one is alive. Is it going to manage to stop the nuke yet again? It will, as long as it doesn't die before the nuke gets in range. Surrey calls GG. He does stop the nuke. And his second Scathis is about to complete. But the Fat Boys are going to take over this entire base from the north side. And there's just not much that can stop the Fat Boy push out from Sone. And Gypsy Danger has honestly been the MVP of the second team. Just like the sole focus on air, making sure he got and maintained it. Sure, he hasn't played great, but got broadsword snipes in, got the snipe onto Poseidon. Admittedly, if he didn't have players like Duelist and Sone in front of him, it would have been very difficult. But the lower rated players in this game, Gypsy Danger, Macho Cat, Sone, super important. Duelist, of course, very important to the game as well. Especially with in the later game with the siege tactics, but it's pretty well and good over. The Scathis, a double Scathis over here, doesn't seem like it's going to get too much done. All of the anti-nukes, except for this one, are dead. And the Scathis fire is going to fire defiantly. But it's going to be quieted very soon. And I'm sure Surrey sees the writing on the wall. Thank you all for watching. You've been beautiful. My name is Willow. Thank you to the Patreons and the channel members who support this channel. And please consider joining those or leaving a super thanks if you want to support the channel a little bit more. It really helps me out quite a bit. And I'm really appreciative to all those guys. Channel members get access to every video early. And it does seem as though Surrey decided to call the game. And of course, channel Patreons get their name at the end of the video, which you're going to see very soon. And a super thanks is if you don't want a recurring payment, you can always just throw a super thanks out, and I really appreciate it. You all are beautiful. My name is Willow, signing off. Like, subscribe, comment.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the